think I'm ready. Oh, I have to press the button. Oh my God. Hey everybody, welcome to subscriber Q&A. Happy day after the 4th of July. My 4th of July turned out to be a lot better than I thought. I invited my family over for a barbecue for dinner yesterday, and we pushed it back an hour because it was torrential rain here and thunder and lightning. And then around 4:30, things cleared up and we had a wonderful barbecue. It worked out very, very nicely. And we all got to take a dip in the pool. And then there were amazing fireworks in my neighborhood. Like, normally it's a lot of loud pops and booms and stuff like that. But this year, someone a street down, like down from my front, a parallel to my street, one street down, was shooting off like huge real fireworks. They were beautiful. So I got to sit and watch fireworks from my front steps. It was very nice. So I hope everybody also had a very nice 4th of July. I am excited to be back with more Raglan sleeve top stuff. And I got a bunch of questions after last week's Raglan sleeve subscriber Q&A. So I thought what I would do is go through some more things here. Hey, Carol, welcome. Hi, Jackie. Nice to see you guys. Hi, Linda Lee. Hi, Lois. How is everybody doing? I'm so happy to see you all. Today is going to be day 1 of my granddaughter's swim lessons. So, you know, Wednesdays I get my granddaughter, and she doesn't know how to swim, and I have a pool, so we're going to be working on that. So that's what I'll be doing after I get off. I thought I would just tell you I'm super excited. But let's get into what we're going to be talking about today. I want to show you a picture. Now, I have permission. Hi, Jenny. Hi, Diana. Hi, Dee. Hi, Tana. Hi, Vicky. Welcome, 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 everybody. Oh, Lois says fantastic. Happy you enjoyed it. Yes, it was really, really nice. I had low expectations because of the weather report, so when things work out in the end, it's kind of nice. So let me show you here. I'm going to drag a picture up that I have here. This is a picture that I got from one of my subscribers who wants to know how to fit her Raglan sleeve for square shoulders. And I just want to show you her side view, and then I'm also going to put up her, I think I can do it like this. So you can see her front view, and you can also see her side view. Now, my guess is, I should have asked her, so if she's watching, I apologize that I didn't ask. And if she's here, you can chime in and tell me. I'm guessing this is a fleece fabric that you use to make this Raglan sleeve pullover. And what can happen when you're working with a single piece Raglan sleeve is you're asking a piece of fabric that's shaped like this to bend over your shoulder. Your shoulder is about, you know, here somewhere, right in here, right? So you're asking the fabric that's straight to bend over a shoulder. And sometimes if you're working with a knit or a fabric that doesn't have the right amount of stretch, you're going to get some of these drag lines like we can see. So I'm going to just, all right, hold on. Before I enlarge the picture, let me just stop and say hi to Barbara from Gillette, Illinois. I'm so happy you're able to watch today as well. Jackie says, here the fireworks were canceled and there was a drone show instead. I saw that on the news, Jackie. I hope that was wonderful. I was trying to imagine what a drone show would look like, but I did hear that on the Today Show this morning when I was watching the news, actually. All right, let me just make this really big so we can see. Oh, Vicky says, this is my first live with you. I've been catching up on the pants videos. Well, thank you for catching up. Please let me know if you have questions about pants. I'm sure we'll have a subscriber Q&A about pants at some point. All right, so I just want to show you here. I've made this picture bigger so you can see what I'm talking about. If you look at her shoulder, um, what's happening is I think the fabric, part of the problem is the fabric is having a hard time going over her square shoulder. And my biggest tip for this is to work with a fabric that has more stretch. So it will stretch over the ball of the shoulder. Um, the other thing is from this picture, let me stick this one back down. If we look at it really closely, it looks like she has a little bit of a forward ball of her shoulder. It's hard to tell exactly because she's looking at the camera instead of facing forward, but it could also be that she can shorten the front between the seam of the shirt front and the sleeve, and pull some of that excess out there. But really, I think the bigger thing is it's a loose fitting armhole, meaning it's a generous size armhole, and the fabric is not really stretching around the ball of her shoulder. So that's the first thing I wanted to talk about. Sometimes, especially when you're working with flat pieces of fabric that you're then asking to bend when you create it into a tube, that can happen. So basically, for this example, I would say if we made this out of a stretch knit fabric that had 25% stretch or so, I think it would go around her shoulder more. Now you might be asking, what can we do if we want to make a raglan sleeve top out of fleece? And that's going to bring me into my second topic. So let me just put these down here. Oh, look, I moved myself too. All right. Okay, so another question that I got was about fitting a two-piece sleeve, and that was in my J Stern Designs Fit Sew Embroider. And what I want to say about a two-piece sleeve is, if I'll put a link to how to draft a raglan sleeve from a traditional bodice, but basically I'm going to go like this so you can see my arm. I'm going to hold it out like this. So when you're drafting the raglan sleeve off of the bodice, the more angled your arm goes down, like this, the more fitted the sleeve gets. And once you get past a certain angle, you have to create a two-piece sleeve, or you have to have a dart in the sleeve to create the shape of your shoulder, the ball of your shoulder. So if you're working with drafting, so if you've got a one-piece sleeve, it was likely drafted with the arm straight, the angle of the sleeve coming off straight from the shoulder seam, or a little bit lower. Once you get down to like this, what happens is you can't really have a one-piece sleeve and have it go over the shoulder, because it'll pull there and it'll poke. So looking at the fleece top one more time here, let me find it. Okay, so here, if there was a seam down the center of the raglan sleeve pattern, it would have shape built into it, and then it would fit this more squared shoulder based on how the pattern was drafted. So that would be a suggestion. If you want to work with a fleece like this, find a pattern that's got a dart in the neckline or a seam going down the center of the raglan sleeve pattern. So that's my answer as far as fixing that. Now let's look at, I'm going to switch my view here. Okay, I have a lot of stuff going on this week. This over here. Okay, so let's look at this sleeve. And what I want to show you here is, I haven't drafted a two-piece sleeve yet, so I'm really, I don't want to say that I'm a pro at drafting it. I didn't have time to play with drafting it before I got on today, but let me just move everything over so I can see here. Okay. But basically, when you have a two-piece sleeve, I'm going to cut the sleeve in half, and then I'm going to show you what the pieces would actually look like if it was drafted for two pieces. So I'm just going to go ahead and draw myself a center line here, and I'm going to cut it. And then I'm going to cut this extra paper off either side so I can tape it over here. So basically, when you end up with a two-piece sleeve, you end up with some shaping. I just want to show you here. So it actually has shape, and let me just also show you one other thing here. Hold on one second. I want to show you in my group. People are working on this Tropicana shirt, and so the sleeve kind of looks like this. Okay, so see how it's actually got a curve from the neckline is right here, right? And it comes out almost like a shoulder seam and curves around for the ball of your shoulder. This is why this kind of sleeve is going to fit better if you have a square shoulder and a fitted sleeve, or if you're working with a fabric that does not stretch as much. So basically what would happen here is this would be coming off, you know, and you would end up with some kind of shape like this to the sleeve. Okay, so see how I added that shaping in like this? Now here's the interesting thing about the shaping. If I've got the shaping like this, okay, let's pretend we drafted it and there's my shaping. That's not super neat, but let me just use, let me just make that look nicer. Hold on. Let me just make it look neat. I'll use purple, and then it curves in, and then this one will be like this, and this one will curve in like this. Okay, so here's the beauty of this. If you're working with a two-piece sleeve like this, and the sleeve is not fitting, or it's pulling at the ball of your shoulder, you can actually give yourself a little bit more room in the shoulder area like this. Okay, and this does not affect the armhole. You're just giving yourself a little bit more room where the ball of your shoulder would be, like that. And that would sort of help a square shoulder. The other cool thing about this is if you're working with this kind of pattern, and let's say we fixed it to give us more room like this, basically, if you don't want the seam to go all the way down, you can tape it back together like this, and then you would just have a dart. So you can adapt a two-piece sleeve into a one-piece sleeve with a dart by cutting. You got to cut off the seam allowance first here, right? And then tape the edges together, and now you've got a sleeve that's one piece, and it has a dart like this. So that's kind of cool. Now here's another thing. Someone asked me how to adjust the dart where the shoulder seam would be, but you want to keep the neckline the same. Because remember, the neckline on a raglan sleeve, the top of the sleeve here and here, this is your side neckline where I colored it lighter pink, right? So if you were to increase or decrease this dart, you would end up tightening the neckline. So if you wanted to change the shape of this dart all the way to the neckline, you would have to add it somewhere else or take it away from somewhere else. So for example, I'm just going to tape this together. We're going to pretend this is my one piece sleeve with a dart. So I'll just tape it together. Okay, and just put some tape here. Okay, so here is this is blue that I'm drawing. This is the edge of our dart that we would have to sew for our raglan sleeve, like this right here and right here. So making this dart a little bit bigger, so by like if I were to close this, let me see if I can close it here. This is tiny, so it's hard to close, but I'm just going to try to close this like this and then pop it out this way. I just want to show you the shape it makes. So see how when you close this dart, see how it's making the shape for the ball of the shoulder here? If you want to make more shape, if you made the dart a little deeper, it would actually make the cup for your shoulder deeper as well. Okay, just like a bust dart. This is creating a cup in the sleeve for your shoulder. And that's why very, very fitted raglan sleeve patterns have either a dart or a seam. So if you wanted to make this deeper, you could, but then you would have to add the length back in. And I mean, I can think of two ways that you could try that. You could either, so like let's say we made the dart a half an inch deeper on both sides, so we're losing an inch. I'm just going to draw that in. All right. So there's our deeper dart right here. You could extend this out a half an inch and blend it back very quickly, but that may play with your sleeve. I mean, we're taking it off here, right? We're going to take this out, but we're adding it here. So you can do that. Or another thing you could do is you could literally slash each side of your sleeve, create a pivot, and then just open that up a little bit. That's another thing you can do. So basically, if I did it that way, you know, and this is just a little bit, right? So we're just opening it that tiny little bit for the little bit that I lost. And you can see that it really doesn't add very much to the rest of the sleeve. It just opens it up that little bit where you increase the sleeve. So you can see we added it there where we took it off there to make the dart deeper. Now if you wanted to change the dart and make it smaller for less shaping, then you would trim it off here or overlap it here. So that's how you can adjust the dart without taking in or letting out the neckline. Because remember, the top of this is your side neckline where I colored in the pink. Okay, so that's a way that you can deal with a dart or a seam in your two-piece sleeve. And the other thing I want to say about that, the question that I had in my group was that the sleeve appeared to be rotating to the back. So the sleeve is pulling to the back. So again, we can be letting out our back sleeve like I showed last week, and taking in the front sleeve to shorten the front, lengthen the back. That would help the sleeve from, you know, pulling towards the back. If you had more room in the back and less in the front, it would pull it forward. So that's what I think about that. Please let me know if anyone has any questions. I'm just zipping along here. I want to make sure I cover everything that people asked me. The other thing about a two-piece sleeve is If you're wearing your shirt, you can go in and pinch, either right before, right in front of the seam in the front or right in front of the seam in the back, and see if taking it out along this edge will help even it out too. You know, because whether you add it over here or if you take it, if you add it here or if you add it here, it could have a similar result if it were a two-piece sleeve. Okay. Hey, RT Blades 4, welcome. We are doing more Raglan sleeve fun. Okay, so please let me know if I haven't answered, how to deal with a square shoulder. And just to recap, use stretchier fabric or use a pattern that's designed to fit the ball of your shoulder, because really with a dart, the dart becomes the shoulder seam really. And then again, if I fold this up, you can see that it creates the shape of the shoulder at the tip of that dart, like almost like a ball. You can see how it kind of creates a curve right there. Tana's asking, so a darted sleeve would be necessary for a woven fabric. It really depends on the fit of the sleeve. I'm currently working on a rayon challis or soft woven raglan sleeve pattern. And it's got gathers around the neckline and it's got gathers around the wrist. So that's a one-piece sleeve because it's a loose fitting sleeve. It's really more about how fitted you want the sleeve to be. The more fitted, the more you need the shape of the shoulder seam, okay, to create the ball shape. So really fitted raglan sleeve tops have either a two-piece sleeve or a dart because it creates, so really what it does is this from here to here, this is really your shoulder seam. So the shoulder seam is really this area here when you sew it up, and then it creates a curve for the ball of your shoulder. So the ball of your shoulder fits in here, and then it drapes from the ball of your shoulder. So that's why a darted raglan sleeve pattern is really good for fitted styles and woven styles that are fitted. And probably some, depending on the fabric, you might want to use this as well, because again, it's going to give you the shape that fits your arm. All right, so that is that. Okay, so then another thing that I got is I'm going to cut one of these side seams off here so I can tape it over here. Someone asked me about lowering the armhole on a raglan sleeve. So if I were just to tape these two, my front and back together, lining up my underarm seam, you can see this is the base of my armhole right here, right? So if I wanted to lower that, I could measure down the amount that I wanted to lower. Let's say I wanted to lower it a ½ inch, right? And then get this a little bit closer. And then what I can do is I could, from the notch, just bring this down and sort of scoop the base of the armhole like this. Now, because we did that, this is going to be a little bit longer than the original because it's reaching down and it's curving lower. And so we've actually, lengthened the length of the armhole from here to here is now a little bit longer. So if you don't need extra length, you could actually just bring this down that much. So you could adjust it at the top to get rid of this because you're adding length down here, and you could do it over here too. So you would just get rid of a little bit of length up here because you've made it longer there, and that way you don't have to adjust your sleeve. RT Blades 4 says, would the two pieces be good way to make a sleeve larger for a larger arm? I don't know if it's necessarily size related, because you can also have a one-piece raglan sleeve that's got plenty of room, you know, plenty of room to fit, as long as you're using a stretch fabric that's recommended for the pattern. Usually when you're working with a knit pattern, for example, it'll tell you how stretchy the fabric has to be. And I will tell you, anytime you're trying to go over something that's significant, like a bigger, rounder shoulder, a bigger bust, bigger butt, bigger curves, tummy, anything that's a bigger curve, working with a four-way stretch is going to make it easier to fit no matter what you're working on, because it's stretching in all directions, and it just makes going over those curves so much easier for the fabric because it's giving all the way around. So I highly recommend, considering your fabric choice when you're working with these things as well. But having a larger arm, as long as your bicep is correct, meaning you have enough room through here, you should be fine with a larger arm. So I hope that answers that question. That was an excellent question. So now I've showed how to lower the armhole. And then I have one more thing I want to share here. I'm going to use this one so I'm not like using a million different things here. Let me just cut out this sleeve. Let's say you sew your raglan together. Another thing that can happen is it can just be too big through the underarm seam and the side seam, and it's causing fabric to bunch up under your arm. And the cool thing about making a raglan sleeve is, basically, if I line this up like this, so this gets sewn together. Okay, this is my sleeve, that's my front, here's my back, that gets sewn like this, right? So basically, notice what's happening here. A raglan sleeve is a flat constructed sleeve, because the way you sew a raglan sleeve in first is you sew the front sleeve to the front armhole edge, you sew the back of the sleeve to the back armhole, right? So then what does that allow you to do? I'm just going to tape them together. Let me just cut these out so I can show you here. I'm going to tape them together so you can see what happens. I almost think a raglan is easier to adjust under the arms because of the way it's sewn on. So let me just show you here. Okay, so we're going to pretend that we're sewing these together. Oh, yay, RT Blade 4 says perfect, thank you. Thank you for letting me know. All right, let's pretend this is sewn. I'm just going to literally tape it on like this. It's not going to be perfect because I can't make the paper match the curves, but basically, there's one. Oh, wait a minute. Sorry. Ugh. All right, that was, I put the front onto the back. Hold on. I can sew it the right way. All right, so here is my front, goes over here. So let's just match that up. And the back goes over here. Let me just tape this on. Okay, then let me just make this even. I just want to show you. All right, there's my neck hole. I'm just going to even that up just so you can see. There's my neck hole. I'm going to fold it like this. And what I want to show you here is, after you sew the armholes together, okay, the next step is to sew your side and underarm seam all in one step like this, right? So you can see, you can sew that like that. And if you end up with too much fabric bunching up under your arms, all you really have to do is start somewhere here, sew a little deeper, and then blend back to the original like this. So taking it in under the arm like this is going to help you get a better fit under your arm if your armhole is too low and you've got too much gap there, or if it's just too much fabric bunching up under your arms. This is how you can take that in. So this actually takes it in and raises the base of the armhole all in one step. So you can do that after you've constructed your raglan sleeve and you notice that you have too much. That's how you would get rid of that. So that is how to take it in under the arms. And then also I showed you how to lower the armhole. Technically, this is showing you how to raise the armhole. And then we talked about darts. And there is another thing that someone might want to know, and that would be how to raise the neckline. And I did a tutorial for that, so I'm going to put the link to that video in the description below when I get off. So if you want to know how to bring the neckline in closer, you can see how to do that. So I think I've answered everybody's question. If I didn't, please inform me and I will make sure I answer you on the next subscriber Q&A. I will tell you that next week I am going to be on a work trip from Monday to Friday. So everything next week is canceled on my YouTube because I'm working on a very exciting project that I will tell you more about later, but it's a week investment of my time. So I will not be around next week at all. And I don't know if I'm going to post things or not. I'll have to see how it goes. But basically, I'm super excited about next week. I think you're going to be super excited about next week once you know what it is. And because it's something that I'm doing for you guys ultimately. So very excited. And yeah, so that's my subscriber Q&A for today. Let's see. Vicky says, it has just occurred to me that a raglan sleeve allows a lot more ways to adjust than even a two-piece set-in sleeve. It really does. I think the fact that you sew here first, right, front and back, and then you sew it up like a flat constructed sleeve gives you a lot of ability to customize the fit of that sleeve. So like I'm super excited that people ask me these things. Of course, now that I've delved into all of this, I'm going to come out with a raglan sleeve that's got a two-piece sleeve. That's a more fitted sleeve. I'm so excited to play with that some more. But basically, you have, on a two-piece sleeve, you have 4 edges. You have the center seam edge, you have the underarm edge, and then you have the armhole edge. So you have a lot of edges that you can take in and let out. And really, I think the best thing to do is work with your 2-mirror setup and sort of pin along or pinch, or you know what, use little wonder clips. I'm not wearing a raglan, but I mean, you could use little wonder clips, pin on, pin out what you think you might want to pin out, either through your underarm seams or along the other seam. So clips work good too to test fit things because you can't prick yourself. Vicky says, will you be answering questions next week? No, next week is a special week where I'm literally going to be on a work trip Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So I will not have, I will try to get a Fit Tip Tuesday video out so you can see that on Tuesday. I will not be here Wednesday. I will not be here Friday. So there will be no subscriber Q&A live. There will be no FabFit Friday live next week because I'm going to be working on a work trip. Let me see. Jenny says, how can I send pictures to you and let you answer my questions after your Q&A? Okay, so if you guys are watching and you want your questions answered during a subscriber Q&A, if you email me pictures, um, I will, and also I'm going to say it right now. If you email me pictures, I'm going to use them in the video. I don't want to have to remember to ask you permission later. So send me pictures that um, I can use in the videos. And you're going to email me. I'm going to put my email in the chat for you. So jsterndesigns37@gmail.com is where you can send me pictures. And I will schedule those in upcoming Q&As. So having pictures really helps me versus just asking me a question. So yay. And also, Vicki, just so you know, check out part 1 of the subscriber Q&A. I did a full bust adjustment on the raglan sleeve last week. So I will put a link to part 1 in the description below after I get off. I should have done that. I forgot to do that. Pat is asking me, is the work trip related to your trip in Newtown last week? Safe travels, and I hope you can pack carry-on. It is related to my trip last week to Newtown. But that's all I'm going to say for now. But you know I will tell you as soon as I can. I don't want to reveal too much before I'm allowed. But I will be doing something down in Newtown all next week. So yay. Now you know. All right. So Linda Lee says, thank you for the raglan fitting. This was a great video for fitting. Well, thank you so much. And thank you guys so much for joining me. I really felt horrible that I didn't get a Fit Tip Tuesday done for yesterday because I was just too busy working on stuff. And I wanted to take a little break for 4th of July. So I did both of those things, and I will commence with, Fit Tip Tuesday next week. And then the following week, I'll be back for my full schedule with Fit Tip Tuesdays, subscriber Q&A, and FabFit Friday. Now, if you remember, FabFit Friday, you can see what I'm going to be doing later today is washing swatches to have them ready for FabFit Friday. And if you want to get a closer look at these really nice linen fabrics that I got from Fabric Mart Fabrics, watch my fabric haul video from last FabFit Friday. And it was an upload because I wasn't here. I was in Newtown. But I did do a video, and I'm going to wash these so you can see how they look washed and unwashed. I'm going to wash some swatches. So I will be introducing you to my V-neck top that I'm designing on Friday during FabFit Friday, and then in 2 weeks we will commence with working on that because I'm not going to be here next week. So anyway, that is my report. I really appreciate everybody hanging out with me. I'm going to spend some time with my granddaughter now, and sadly I scheduled teaching. I'm teaching Saturday and Sunday. I'm teaching my pants fitting class. It's a 3-hour Saturday and Sunday for this weekend and next weekend, so I can't go to her birthday party, so I want to spend some time with her today. But anyway, I'm so happy. Tana just said she got her Sojo back after several years. I am so excited that you got your Sojo back, and I'm so happy you think my videos are helpful too. I really try to put things out that will help people, and this subscriber Q&A is one of my favorite things because this is all about you guys. Usually on FabFit Friday, I'm working on a me project that I share with you, but I like my subscriber Q&A because I really get to address things that people are asking me. So it's a lot of fun. All right, so I am going to be taking off now, and thank you guys so much for joining me. I really, really appreciate it. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. If you're still celebrating, or if you have the week off for summer break, I hope you're enjoying it. And I will see you in 2 weeks for subscriber Q&A, but I will try to get a Fit Tip Tuesday video up for next Tuesday, so when I'm not here, you'll get to have something to watch. So there you go. So thank you, and I'm going to sign off now because I can feel myself starting to ramble. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Okay, bye bye. Oh, thank you, Jackie.